Hello students, in today's video we will be discussing detection of ultrasonic waves. Like we have seen in the earlier video, how are ultrasonic waves produced? But this video deals with detection. That means if in any medium there is a presence of ultrasonic waves, how can we feel it? How can we come to know that ultrasonic waves are present? Because they cannot be seen, they cannot be heard. So to detect whether ultrasonic waves are present or not, we can use any of the four methods below. So I'll be starting with the first method, that is known as quartz crystal method. Now this method is based on piezoelectric effect. What does piezoelectric effect say? It says that piezoelectric effect says that if there is a pressure applied on a piezoelectric crystal, equal and opposite charges will develop on the opposite faces. So same funda will be used for detection of ultrasonic waves. So this is nothing but the piezoelectric effect. So instead of pressure, vibration is also a sort of pressure. So if this vibration is focused on a piezoelectric crystal, we can say that charges are developed over here. So what is done in the method, that suppose this is a piezoelectric detector which has a piezoelectric crystal in it. So if you have to place this detector in a medium where you suppose that ultrasonic waves are there. So what happens when the ultrasonic waves strike on the opposite faces of the piezoelectric crystal, on the other two opposite faces we get charge, and if we connect the other two opposite faces through a microvoltmeter, we can measure the voltage which is developed because of the charge. So this is the basic method used for ultrasonic wave detection. This method is known as a quantitative method. When a pair of opposite faces of a crystal is exposed to ultrasonic waves, the charges get developed in the other pair of opposite faces. These charges are amplified and then they are measured through some suitable microvoltmeter. You can connect a CRO and you can also measure the frequency and the strength of ultrasonic signal. So as we said, it is a quantitative method, means you can come to know what frequency of ultrasonic waves are present. So it actually derives the value also, and that is why it is known as a quantitative method. Next is known as the thermal detection method. What is principle of thermal detection method? The principle of thermal detection method says that whenever ultrasonic waves propagate in a medium, the temperature of the medium changes due to the alternate compressions and rarefactions. We all know that ultrasonic waves are sound waves, that means longitudinal waves, and all the longitudinal waves, they transmit or propagate in the form of rarefactions and compressions. That means you have any source of sound, whenever you try to, just basic example, whenever we try to speak, the particles of air which are close to the source, they get compressed, then they expand and compress the other particles. So this is how compression, rarefaction. This is how a sound wave transmits. So what happens whenever there is a compression, whenever all particles of the medium are combined together, that is the nodal points, the temperature of the medium will be slightly higher. And when they are rarefied, when there is complete expansion, we say that these points are known as antinodes, where the medium particles are scattered. So there will be no change in temperature. So this is the basic principle on which the thermal detection method is based. So when ultrasonic waves are propagated through a medium, the temperature of the medium changes due to alternate compressions and rarefactions. So there is a change in temperature at nodal points. Nodal point means where the density of medium is maximum because the amplitude of wave is maximum. And there will be no change at antinodes. At antinodes, because the magnitude of the wave is zero at the antinodes, and so the density is also minimum, and so there will be no change in temperature. This is the basic circuit diagram of using thermal detection method, wherein a simple bridge, this bridge is known as a Callendar-Griffith bridge, named after the physicists who actually proposed it. So there are four different branches. Four different branches have, out of the four branches, the branch A, B, C, which I have labeled, it consists of normal resistor. But the branch D consists of a platinum wire. Now, why specifically a platinum wire is used? A platinum wire is used purposefully. Reason is platinum is highly responsive to small temperature changes. Even if there is a very small change in temperature, the resistance of platinum wire will change. So in normal condition, the bridge will be in balanced position. The galvanometer connected here will be in balanced position. But whenever you take this circuit in the presence of ultrasonic medium, what happens at the nodal points when the temperature becomes maximum, the resistance of platinum wire will increase and there will be an imbalance in the galvanometer. Again at the nodal points, there will be no change, so the galvanometer will be back in the normal position. So by sensing the change in temperature using suitable components, the ultrasonic waves can be detected. This is the most commonly used method for detection of ultrasonic waves. As I said, platinum is specifically used because it is very sensitive to small temperature changes. This bridge is known as the Callendar-Griffith bridge. The above circuit is placed in the region where the presence of ultrasonic waves is to be detected. If there is a presence of ultrasonic waves due to compression and rarefaction. So again, let me go on to the bridge. Whenever there is compression, there will be nodes formed. At the nodes, temperature is more, so resistance will be more. So you will see an imbalance in the galvanometer. After a particular distance, what happens after a particular distance, there will be an antinode. At the antinode, temperature will have no change, so resistance will not change and the bridge will be balanced again. Again after same distance, it will be imbalanced, again it will be balanced, and this is how we can come to know that ultrasonic waves are present in the given medium. So the temperature varies at the nodes. It becomes maximum disturbance and it remains constant at the antinodes. It becomes zero disturbance. Thus, ultrasonic waves can be detected. The sensitive flame method is the third method which is used to measure ultrasonic waves. Now, this method used is known as a qualitative method. This method is known as a qualitative method, and qualitative method means you can just come to know the presence of ultrasonic waves. You cannot come to know the magnitude, frequency or velocity of the waves, but we can just come to know that ultrasonic waves are present in a medium. So what is done? It actually uses a candle or it uses a normal flame. Now, what actually happens? How does it detect the presence of ultrasonic waves? So as we have discussed earlier, all the compressed regions are the regions where all the particles come closer, so can be reflected from the diagram. This won't be practically seen, but just to make you understand what is a compressed region and what is a rarefied region, what is done is all the compressed regions show that particles of the medium have come closer. That means the density of the medium is more, and all the rarefied region. Can you see these blank portions? These rarefied regions show that the particles are scattered and the density is almost zero. So in this case, what happens if you simply move the candle flame in the medium exactly at the compressed regions, your flame will flicker, and exactly at the rarefied regions, the flame will remain stationary. So equal distance you have compressed regions, so at equal distance the flame will flicker, and equal distance you have rarefied region, so at those equal distances the flame remains stationary. So by flickering of the flame at equal distances and the flame being stationary at equal distances, we can come to know that ultrasonic waves are present. The last and the most commonly used method is known as Kunz tube. This is a method which is generally used for detecting ultrasonic waves of low frequency. This method is known as a quantitative method. It is known as a quantitative method because you can come to know what is the frequency of ultrasonic waves, and you can also find out what is the velocity of ultrasonic waves in that particular medium. So let us discuss Kunz tube in detail. So this is the construction diagram of Kunz tube, wherein this portion is known, this is a glass tube. This glass tube through a piston is connected to a stand. The glass tube with the help of hinges is fixed on a wooden stand, and one end of the glass tube is open. So one end is fixed with the help of piston, the other end is kept open, and this entire setup is kept on a wooden stand. This glass tube is connected to the wooden stand with the help of hinges or handles. And the open end, close to the open end, we bring a piezoelectric oscillator or a piezoelectric uh, generator. And what is done? Lycopodium powder or cork powder. What is lycopodium powder? You can simply say it is like husk, a dust of wood. It resembles dust of wood. So this lycopodium powder is filled in the glass tube. So let me explain you how will this detect. So what happens if there are ultrasonic waves present and the piezoelectric detector, if it is brought close to the open end of the glass tube, what will happen? The waves enter this glass tube. The ultrasonic waves are actually longitudinal waves, so they will be they propagate in the form of compressions and rarefactions. So because of these ultrasonic waves, what happens to the lycopodium powder? The lycopodium powder arranges itself in the form of heaps. If you just closely look at these heaps, you can come to know that this portion of heap where the amplitude is maximum, it corresponds to the nodal point, because nodes are the points where the amplitude of wave is maximum, and then antinodal points resemble the amplitude of the wave to be zero. And you can also come to know that this distance between the nodes, between two nodes, or the distance between two antinodes is equal to half of wavelength. And because we are using the glass tube, what can be done? Because of this glass tube, we can calculate the distance between the two corresponding nodes, that will be half of wavelength, or we can calculate the distance between two antinodes, that will again be half of wavelength. And this is how, and we already know the frequency of this ultrasonic source, so we can come to know what is the velocity of ultrasonic waves in this medium. So let me just explain point-wise again. The Kunz tube apparatus consists of a long glass tube of more than 1 meter length and 5 centimeter diameter, which is kept horizontally with two supports on a wooden board. One end of the tube is fitted with an adjustable piston rod with cork, and a quartz crystal placed between two metal plates is placed at the other end of the open tube. The glass tube, before the process is started, this glass tube needs to be completely air dried. So a blower is used to completely air dry it. Why it should be air dried? So that the lycopodium powder does not stick to the glass tube, so that proper heaps are formed. Otherwise, the velocity calculated will not be accurate. The formation of heaps at the nodes confirms the presence of ultrasonic waves. The average distance between two consecutive heaps gives the value of half the wavelength using the formula V is equals to F lambda. So lambda can be found out as 2 into D. The distance between the nodes and frequency is already known. This is how the velocity also can be determined using Kunz tube. And that is the reason Kunz tube is known as quantitative method. Hope the topic was clear. Thank you.